Jasmine Crockett, the representative from Texas. Jasmine Crockett, Texas representative, a very low-income area over there. She has been in the news quite a bit. She has had a rough week. Now, Jasmine Crockett is the one who gave us brilliant sound bites like this one when she was talking about Senator Ted Cruz's re-election campaign.
I think that you punch. I think you punch. I think you're okay with you okay with punching. You know, I think, and I love Colin, and I think towards the end he started to punch a little harder. But, like, it's Ted Cruz. I mean, like, this dude has to be knocked over the head, like, hard, right? Like, there is no niceties with him. Like, at all. Like, you go clean off on him, right?
I don't know about you, Mia. She sounds to me like the most intelligent member of Congress. What do you think?
I think so.
Yeah. No, I think that if I call a customer service hotline and I hear that voice on the other end, I'm hanging up and calling back. That's what I think. Well, she had a really rough week and honestly a rough day on Tuesday. So her week started off with her giving a virtual speech for one of those anti-Tesla rallies where people are planting bombs at Tesla dealerships and walking in with guns and vandalizing people's vehicles and confronting them in the middle of the street while the Democrats sit idly by and then claim it's not actually domestic terrorism, even though it perfectly fits the definition of it. She gave a speech for one of those protests, but online because they're slacktivists. Well, a reporter tried to confront her and ask her questions about it, and this is what she did.
Hello, Congresswoman.
Horse manure. Well, that sounds like fun.
Wait, Congresswoman Crockett.
But it sounds.
Congresswoman Crockett, you were recently on a Tesla takedown call calling for violence on the
that's what it is
29th.
to be here, right?
Would you like to clarify your comments?
As you can see.
Congresswoman,
No,
will you
it's good to
condone
see.
violence at the Tesla?
I don't think she's going to condemn the violence, considering she grabbed his phone, snatched it out of his hand. That is assault, by the way, at its property. You cannot grab someone's phone. That's considered an extension of their person. You cannot grab someone's phone. I know, because once upon a time, I was living in an apartment complex where I had a neighbor who had recorded me taking my dog out to poop, and I had beef with this neighbor for a long time, taking my dog out to poop, walking the dog back up the stairs, but when she clicked stop recording on the camera, what it didn't show was me coming back outside and picking it up. Now, she submitted this to the apartment complex. I got a really nasty letter on my door about how I was going to be fined, and if they caught me again, and I didn't pick it up, I could be at risk of being evicted, and all these threats without even following up. But that's point aside there. I had to look into it because I had to look into the local laws because I straight up said, if I see them recording me out there again, I'm going to take that phone and drop it in the fucking sewer. Turns out that's assault. You can't do that. So she committed assault there. Now, here's what she tweeted this to apologize. She said, this morning, an individual attempted to invade my personal safety for a soundbite. I love invade my personal. That doesn't even make any sense, first off. Thank you to my colleague, Rep. Tim Burchett, for putting himself between me and the individual to ensure I made it to committee. In a time of division, he put respect and safety first, and I appreciate it. Not even remotely close to what happened. The guy was a foot away from her, holding up a phone to her, which happens to members of Congress all the time, on both sides of the aisle. You've got citizen reporters there for a YouTube channel or whatever with a cell phone asking questions, looking for a soundbite. He wasn't in her face. We can tell by the video. If you can't stand the heat, sweetheart, get out of the kitchen. You're the only one that I've seen who's reacted violently to it. I know Don Bacon will pull his phone out and record the guy and ask him why he's not wearing his short shorts and tube socks. I don't really know what that's all about. It's kind of weird, but it's not illegal. You broke the law, and then you went out and lied about it, even though it was on video, and tried to gaslight people, because that's the only thing the Democrats can do, and then played the victim. Well, shortly after that, this video from a speech she was giving at the Human Rights Conference surfaced. Go ahead.
Because we in these hot ass Texas streets, honey. Y'all know we got Governor Hot Wheels down there. Come on now. And the only thing hot about him is that he is a hot ass mess, honey. So yes.
And when she says Governor Hot Wheels, she's referring to Governor Greg Abbott of Texas. For reference, this is Governor Abbott. It's just a picture of him. That's who she's referring to as Hot Wheels. Yeah. Now, again, Crockett, ever so much the victim and never one who's willing to take responsibility for any of her actions, tweeted out this several hours later. I wasn't thinking about the governor's condition. I was thinking about the planes, trains, and automobiles he used to transfer migrants into communities led by black mayors, deliberately stoking tension and fear among the most vulnerable. I mean, what a way to just deny. No, you were not thinking about planes, trains, and cars used to transfer, and then to find a way to pimp race on this. Literally, the next line I said was that he was a hot-ass mess, referencing his terrible policies. At no point did I mention or allude to his condition. So I'm even more appalled that the very people who unequivocally support Trump, a man known for racially insensitive nicknames and mocking those with disabilities, are now outraged. So she had to apologize for assault and mocking a guy in a wheelchair within 3 hours of each other. Multiple apologies. How do I get a job as her PR guy? I'll never not be busy. I'll never have to worry about that. Here's the thing. Hot Wheels is not a new nickname. She didn't make that up. That's something people have referred to Abbott as long before any of the immigrant stuff started. And her ability to twist this into a racial issue is despicable, and it shows just what kind of grift she's running. Here's my thing about this. If
you're a horrible, despicable person.
If you're going to go after Abbott for being in a wheelchair, I don't have a problem with that. In fact, you won't find a bigger proponent of mocking the disabled than me. We all know that. My issue with that is what she said in that second paragraph. Which is what not just her, but everyone on the left who spent the last week defending her does every single day. When you argue from a point of virtue and condemn others for doing something, then turn around and do it yourself or defend it when your side does it, you're making it clear that you were never arguing for the greater good. You were never standing up for the supposedly, excuse me, you were never standing up for the marginalized communities that you guys are claiming to defend. You were never arguing on behalf of the greater good. You were merely using those people as a vehicle to score points on your political opponents. It was never about, when Trump did that hand motion back in 2016 where he was supposedly mocking the supporter or the reporter with a disability, and the whole left lit him up for it, and they all got upset about it. All of those people are defending what she said. Now, I'm not offended by what she said. What I am offended by is the hypocrisy. You don't get to stand up here and say, you're a terrible person because you made a joke, or you made fun of a guy with a disability, or you made a racist joke, blah, 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 and then turn around and do the exact same thing yourself. If it's fair game, it's fair game. So be it. Let's do it. I'm all for it. But you don't get to argue from the moral high ground when you do the exact same thing. Because that just proves that not only are you a hypocrite, but that you really don't actually care about those people. And those people that you're claiming to stick up for are just a means to an end for you. I also find it hilarious that she mocked a guy in a wheelchair at the Human Rights Campaign to thunderous applause and laughter. Now, for context, here's a before and after video. Jasmine Crockett is an intelligent woman. She is. She's an attorney. She got elected to Congress a couple years ago. Here's a video, a before and after video of her, how she not just talked, but carried herself and acted and looked prior to setting foot inside of Washington, D.C. Go ahead.
Absolutely. First of all, it's good to see you in the new year. You know, no one could have told me that when I went down to Austin, now it looks like a little bit over a year ago, that I would be running for Congress. It's just not what my plan was. But what I've always decided is that I would step up when there was a need. Listen, he up there, he's spewing all kinds of nonsense and bullshit. Let me just be real. And we weren't gonna sit for that shit. We wouldn't, you know. But when she called me and said, I think it's time for me to retire, and you're the one that I believe should take my seat, I really was kind of caught off guard. I didn't anticipate that. If anyone knows anything about the Congresswoman, they know. We showed up, and if he had some sense, then maybe we would have been about that life. But y'all know he ain't got no sense, so please give some love. This took a little bit of coordinating to do, for sure. We got some cool shirts. You know, the congressional seat is over 4 times as large as my House seat. And I was just starting to get into the rhythm of doing constituent services and things like that. We got Madam Williams, who just happens to have the honorary seat. It's not even honorary because she's holding it down, y'all. But the legend himself, John Lewis, that is the seat in which she currently serves. So she honored his legacy. This is the message that she wanted to send today.
Yeah, so that's a grift, is what you're watching. That's a grift. So she represents an extremely poor area in Texas. And it's the same thing what I said about Fetterman, is that Fetterman feels like he can relate to blue-collar, middle-class voters.
Big, stupid, ugly ogre.
By wearing a sweatshirt and shorts everywhere he goes, even though we would never dress like that if we were going to a formal event. And she thinks that by speaking like trash, she can better relate to the constituents in her district because that's how she views them. Or maybe I'm wrong, Mia. Maybe she picked up that accent hanging around all the elected officials up on Capitol Hill. Do you think that Nancy Pelosi and Mitch McConnell really their ebonics rubbed off on her?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
No, I think she picked it up from Kamala.
Oh,
That's using her accent.
One of the many faces of Kamala Harris. That's a guy didn't even think of that. That's an excellent point. Hey, thanks for watching. If you liked what you saw, be sure to click the link in the description to get the full episode on Rumble. If you prefer to listen along, you can actually get us on Spotify, Spreaker, and iHeartRadio. You can also go to www.outlawstreamers.com to learn more about not just my show, but tons of other great shows and all the exciting projects they have coming up. Follow my socials at Caleb Isn't Funny on Twitter and Instagram, at Caleb Salvatore Comedy on the Chinese spy app that is TikTok, and be sure to like and subscribe to this YouTube channel. Thanks, and we'll see you every Saturday for brand new episodes of That's Based. Peace.